What's up with the chair, man? Talk about the chair.
Anyway, hey everybody, I'm here with Flat Earth Dave, obviously, and I'm on the ISS. And what are we talking about today, Dave?
We're going to talk about Charlie Kirk and how so many truthers, real ones and fake ones, cannot see through this deception. It's shocking.
It is pretty shocking. And so we're going to actually just bring up a few. We're going to try to make this as tight, as succinct as possible, but we're going to just bring up a few things that are huge anomalies that we want to focus on because they really should be the things that we should focus on and really to unearth what's kind of going on here. And I think the main thing that we want people to know is that this is a big magic show. That's what it is. You're dealing with occult, dark, Kabbalistic magicians is what you're dealing with here. One thing I want to say before we get going here, we shall always remain the fool. We shall always remain the fool until we understand that the world is run by magic and magicians. Okay? So, and that's the problem is right now is that we have a lot of these alleged truthers in the truther sphere that are basically not recognizing that what these people, one of the things that they use is the tools of magic. So let's first talk about where do you want to start here?
I mean, there's so many stuff we've talked about where, what the people that were there saw was different than what the people online saw. And most of the people there, there was most of them, in my opinion, and there's lots of evidence to it, were staged, were crowds on demand, were agents. But even if there were students there, which I believe there were, they were 20, 30 yards back. Marty, when you see somebody get shot in the neck from 20, 30 yards away, what do you see? You don't see very much. He was only there for a half a second before he hit the floor, right? And so you go, everybody runs, and they're like, oh my God, he got shot. I saw blood. If you're lucky enough to have seen something like that. And then what do? You look at your phone, and you're watching it on X, just like we were. You were there, but you watched it on X. You didn't see it.
So the main thing that we're trying, and there's a few people out there that I know online. I think it was Brandon, I forget what his last name is, and Dustin Nemos. There's a few characters out there that have basically put this forward. That basically what we're dealing with is holography, specifically, right? You were pretty much the one that actually got this into my ear last year, early. I think it was last year. And that really got the ball rolling with a lot of this stuff because you have to realize that the level of technology that these people have is way beyond what is actually put out. And people just know this. R&D, Black Ops, R&D, it's usually what, 25, 50 years, sometimes even more ahead in design than what they put out. And the perfect example of this is we all know 2001: A Space Odyssey. 2001: A Space Odyssey was what, released in 1969? What was 2001: A Space Odyssey about? AI. What they were letting you know through Hollywood is that they had that technology, yes, in the 60s. And when was it rolled out? We all know, just, fairly recently, if you will. So this is the thing that we're trying to get into people's heads. So when Dave and I speak today about the advanced holography that we have, people will automatically go to, whatever they saw, the holography that's on Star Wars or whatever it is, right? That's what they go to, and they're not realizing that this technology is extremely, extremely advanced.
Let me chime in there. When you say holography, there was the comparison to the 10 by 10 holography, setup that people have there. That may have been part of it, but there's rotoscoping, real-time rotoscoping live AI overlays, which are being done. If you look at the video, I broke down the first video that came out of, the actual shot with the gush, and his wound moved without his neck moving. And then you can see different panels. You can see overlaying. It's like the old picture of Saturn when you zoom in on it, and crank up the levels. You can see all this. All of these were mistakes, either on purpose or not on purpose for the revelation of the method. They always do tell us what they're doing. I can't decide which one it is, whether they're purposely or just horrible at it. But there's so many things wrong with this.
What people need to know is that, and you can just look this up on Google, Grok, whatever you want. There's multiple different technologies that will actually create holography, and it's actually pretty old. There's light field displays, there's volumetric displays, There's laser plasma holography, which is the one we will talk about specifically. There's aerial projection systems. There's things called Pepper's Ghosts. There's LED fan, hollow fan displays where there's like a fan that goes like this, and then it will literally create a display in front of you. There's stereoscopic versus realistic dynamic holograms. There's holograms that are literally, as he's saying, you can do an overlay and it's opaque. You can't see beyond the hologram because it's literally put in your view. So just to let people know, so it's like, well, how do they do this? How do they do this? Well, you're trying to think archaically in this sort of sense of what you understand with the technology, and this technology is very advanced. The one technology that we can absolutely say that we know exists, that the military has, and they've had it for a long time, is plasma holography.
Number 4, the Ariel Burton Laser Plasma Holograph. Burton Inc. is located in Japan, and they are proud innovators who managed to succeed in creating true 3D display using plasma technology. This creates amazing opportunities for further creations because the light can be viewed without the need to bounce off of any surface and use mirrors or glass. Specifically, the technology they use is a 1 kilowatt infrared laser, which is focused on direct points in the air by a 3D scanner. This causes the molecules in the air to be ionized and thus create a plasma. Now, we can't imagine all the possibilities that this opens, but we're sure they are going to be more than impressive.
Plasma holography does not require any screen. It does not require any sort of like thing to bounce off or anything like that. It is holograms that they can literally use a laser and put it right in midair, and you would not be able to tell the difference. And we've actually, Dave has had some, a friend in Microsoft that's actually directly experienced this when he was working with Microsoft. So when we say, oh, you holography, well, where's the thing that it's bouncing off, or where's the fan or anything like that? Well, no, they can do this in midair. And what we're saying, at least what I'm saying, I think Dave would probably agree, is this is exactly how they pulled off 9/11. There were no planes. Those were holograms. And this is why those planes, and I'll put the video in here, just like butter through that building. It's because it wasn't metal hitting metal, and we all know that. It was a hologram, which means that they were using this specific technology in 2001.
Yeah, and on top of this, I mean, this is the real kept secret. We all know about AI videos. There's also deep fake videos. People don't know the difference between them. A deep fake video takes a real video and changes it. Like you and I could be in a video together and they could swap our faces, or they could turn you into Ghislaine Maxwell and me into Jeffrey Epstein, right? I'm not going to be Ghislaine. You're going to be. And they can do all of that. And so there's different artifacts to look for, but there's so much they could have done here. And, one thing they didn't do is shoot Charlie Kirk.
Yeah. And that's the thing that we really need to get into people's head, is that they have crazy advanced technology. We're even seeing this. It's rolled out into our time. So when we try to go and be like, well, how did they do this? And how did Charlie Kirk go and throw hats? He was obviously there. That absolutely could have been a hologram. And everybody that's in the first 20 rows or whatever it is, those are all just people that are, as he's saying, crowdsourced CIA, whatever, that sort of thing. That absolutely could have been a hologram that you were looking at. And most of those people that were in that sort of area, yes, they could have absolutely been holograms. Do we know that for sure or not? No, but we have to put that in people's head that, yes, the technology exists, and it would be really easy for them to do this. So.
Do you think that he could have been there and it was just a swap out or overlay or whatever?
Yeah, very well could. That's the other thing that could have happened. Charlie Kirk absolutely could have been there. He could have been out front shaking hands and doing all the things. And then as soon as they went behind this little tent, there's a holographic overlay, and then they do their little magic show. They do their magic trick. Let me just say this too. The thing that people are not really getting into their heads is that you can go to Vegas, today, and you can spend literally hundreds and hundreds of dollars to sit in the front row of David Blaine or David Copperfield, and there's a stage there, and they perform all their theatrics, and they can do all sorts of crazy stuff right in front of your eyes. They can make people disappear. You can cut people in half. You can do all these sorts of things, and you're wowed. It's literally right in front of you. You're paying for it, and people are like, how are they doing this? How are they doing this? And nobody has an explanation for it except the people that are actually performing the magic show. This is the level of people that you're dealing with. And if you don't get this in your head, then you're always going to be, falling for their tricks.
I wanted to throw a little thing back in 2014 when we first started talking about the flat Earth and showing the picture of the blue marble. The Globers' argument was they didn't have Photoshop back in the 60s, right? That would be their argument. They didn't have Photoshop. I think they had AI in the 1800s, if you ask me.
They obviously had some sort of photographic manipulation technology. As we know, you can look at back as lots of people do with the Tartarian stuff like that. Those are obviously manipulated photographs. How are they doing that without computers? What we're saying is that yes, and everybody pretty much knows this. Even people in technology, they're like, yeah, the stuff that they're working on behind the scenes is really crazy. And then of course we have all these billions of dollars that go into black ops, literally, military, or you don't think that they're doing crazy stuff behind the scenes and then showing it to you? Of course they are. Just use your common sense.
The stuff that they put in front of us, they're the elite don't get these technologies and goes, oh, let's quickly give it to all the people, right? They give it to us 50 years later.
Yeah, exactly. The other thing that I want to say is, and this is the thing that I've been really pushing for the last whatever, and I just assumed more people knew this, is that the majority of our media, and I'm going to say some names and I'll just put a big fat allegedly, are absolutely part of a CIA/Mossad thing called, or it's some derivation of Project Mockingbird, guys. It's Project Mockingbird. And what Project Mockingbird is, it's Mockingbird Media. It's there to mock you, by the way. What they do is they put out all of these sorts of characters to grab your attention, to think that the country's going somewhere and they're making all the arguments and let's follow this guy and this guy and this guy, and it's there to lead you nowhere. This is exactly what Turning Point USA was all about. It's not like Charlie Kirk was a really good guy and then they killed him and then we found out that Erica was this really bad. No, they were probably trafficking children, allegedly, and that sort of thing. Most of your media, at least from my opinion, is Project Mockingbird. Megyn Kelly and Steven Crowder and the boys at Daily Wire. Just go down the list. James O'Keefe, Benny Johnson, just go down the list. Pretty much everybody that has a major platform is put in front of you to misguide, to misdirect you, so that the actual organic movement to take back the country will go nowhere.
Speaking of that, just recently there was this attack in Puerto Vallarta, Mexico. I was there at the Anarchapulco conference. I left Saturday morning. The attack happened Sunday morning, and most of the speakers and attendees were still there. So we were getting firsthand reports from the street. Totally didn't match what the news showed. The news showed airplanes on fire at the airport and, horrible story. None of that was true. A couple buses, a couple taxis, and a couple OXXO convenience stores were blown up. And they pulled the people out of the cars before they blew up the cars, right? So I don't think anybody died, but the mainstream made it look like something completely different. So just case in point.
Just like the mainstream media is just putting on a big magic show or something.
Yeah.
Exactly. So, okay. So that's the main thing, is that, so when you look at this and you try to look at the CK shooting, the Chuckles Church shooting, and you're trying to put it, use the information that you have in your head and lay and graft over it to make sense of it, well, you don't have all the puzzle pieces, and you're not thinking of all the things that we know that they have, at least, like use the plasma holography and things like that they absolutely could be using. They also could be using all sorts of different things, like you're saying, AI overlays, multiple different holographies, just changing the video before it goes out, whatever it is. There's all sorts of things. So I think that's the most important point that people need to realize, is that, if you think Charlie Kirk was just this regular dude and he just came from nowhere in 18, he built this huge thing all by himself. No, it's a Hollywood production, guys. It's a Hollywood production. And most of these things are.
As a high school senior, Kirk gained popularity for writing an essay about liberal bias in economic textbooks for a conservative news site. It earned him his first appearance here on Fox News.
And when we graduate from high school this coming June, we're handed a diploma. That's also an invoice for hundreds of thousands of dollars that my generation's gonna have to pay off through interest, high taxes, and a stagnant economy.
I was an 18-year-old kid with, like I said, no connections, no money, no idea what I was doing. But one guy traveled the Midwest with me, Bill Montgomery, raise your hand. Bill Montgomery believed when no one else believed. He said, Charlie, don't go to college. You could start a movement that will save Western civilization.
And where's the video of Charlie playing with his kids at a birthday party or something? There's only 3 videos of Charlie really acting weird with a child that doesn't even want to look him in the face.
Storytelling. So we're here at Bill's Burgers in New York City. And right near this very table was the first time Dad met Mama. And it started as a job interview. And I was asking all these questions, philosophy, religion, Jesus. And then I realized Mama was beautiful and smart and elegant and Christ-like. And so I said, forget this job interview. I want to date you. And I said, I have enough friends. And that's where your journey starts.
Like, you start digging into this, and next thing you know, none of it makes any sense whatsoever.
Yeah, the problem is a lot of Christians, and they say, "Oh, Charlie, he's such a good guy. He's pressing such a good Christian message." They can't imagine that he could be in on it, so they make up stories how he's not, how he was assassinated.
This is one of the things that they're doing, is they're trying to hijack a legitimate Christian movement, right? This is why Russell Brand became a Christian. This is why Jordan Peterson became a Christian. This is why the IIA operations, Mr. Joe Rogan has his handlers. This is why he's like moving to Christ, right? This is why they're doing that, because they want to hijack a legitimate movement.
Let me talk about the theory of the lavalier microphone bomb, right? So Charlie wore a very wafer thin magnetic microphone on his T-shirt, and the official story says the day before he sent a text saying, "I think they're going to try and kill me." Right? So the next day, right? And then we were pre-programmed for planted bombs in pagers from the pager story of the exploding pagers a year ago.
Yep.
Remember that? Mm-hmm. So let me ask a question, Marty. On that T-shirt you're wearing there, if we had a little magnetic microphone, you wore it all the time. It weighs probably an ounce, maybe a half an ounce. And they replaced it with a bomb that could blow a hole through your chest and exit your neck. Do you think you would notice a difference in that microphone?
I mean, you would think you would.
It would have to have some weight on it. And then how would it not blow a hole in his T-shirt? The story that people are telling it's going through his chest and out his neck, and that was an exit wound. Mm-hmm. That's crazier than the globe Earth. It's so dumb.
The whole thing about too, when you look at this as a stage show, it's clear that's clearly what it was. Just do a bird's eye view of the Utah Valley campus or whatever it is. They had the little thing over top. They had the tent that was right there, and right out back, the getaway car was all right there. They immediately grabbed him in so that they could, you could clearly see that this was all set up just like it was a magic show.
Yeah, and I mean, there's so many other clues in there. I mean, one of them was an award-winning, Emmy award-winning or Oscar, whatever the award is for prosthetic makeup guy, was following Charlie in. He was there in the tent when Charlie allegedly got shot. And when he got shot, he didn't move for like 5 seconds. He was just looking around, didn't react for over 5 seconds.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, you had just sent me a video too that I just shared on TikTok, where it's like basically when the government does these sort of like false flag operations, that they have a color of the day.
Yep.
They redacted the color of the day when people did a FOIA request or whatever it was. And if you look in the crowd, there's all these people wearing maroon or burgundy.
Yeah. If you don't know, during the Charlie Kirk assassination, there was a significant number of young men wearing maroon shirts. Originally, Candace Owens was the first person to point this out, and everybody called her crazy. However, I found proof that she was right. So after she made this claim, a lot of people called her crazy, but there was also a good amount of people from the military that were saying that's absolutely a thing the military does during secret operations in public areas. They choose a color of the day. So I started thinking, right? I was like, what if I searched in the DOJ files the term color of the day? And what do you know? I find 40 results of different FBI briefings talking about a color of the day, and every single one is unredacted. You can see what the color of the day was for that day for whatever military operation was going on, and most of the details for the military operation is redacted. However, on the day of Charlie Kirk's assassination, the morning of, before his death, they established a color of the day for a SITREP, which is just a military situation report. And the color of the day is redacted. Out of 40 different files mentioning the color of the day for secret operations, the day of Charlie Kirk's assassination is the only one that has a color of the day redacted.
Yeah, and they all look like military guys.
They all look like military guys. So when you
the guy that did the FOIA request asked and got like 25 or 30 different operations, and none of the color were redacted, but on the Charlie Kirk one, the actual color was redacted, the only one. And there's so much, like, go to stoplookthink.com, scroll down Charlie Kirk. All my videos are there, all the interviews I've done, other interviews. Watch my Charlie Kirk in 6 minutes. I mean, there's so much evidence in there. Check that stuff out and just know that this is another psyop. It's, well, why would they do that? You know what? They're doing it all. We're in a spiritual war. They want us in fear. They want us scared. They want us focusing on lack. And, there's a lot of reasons why they would do this.
One of the reasons too is that they're trying to wedge further and further. I mean, they're trying to foment a civil war right now. If you just literally just yesterday, I think it was like Tucker Carlson came out and was like, "Hey, we're about to go into civil war," and then of course, what comes up in my feed? Yeah, we're going to civil war, right? This is what they're trying to do. So basically, and you also see guys like Tucker Carlson, stuff like that, talking about legitimate things. Why? Well, they've spent years and years and years making the left hate Tucker Carlson. So now if Tucker Carlson comes in and actually says something that's true, the left is just gonna be like, well, blah, 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 that sort of thing. They're just constantly feeding this division and trying to literally make us just hate each other and kill each other and not focus on, hey, it's us and them.
Right.
So
I truly believe at this point where they need us to give them permission to go to war. They need us to bang the war drums like they did on 9/11, right? We all banged the war drums. I did, and they got their wars. But like they've been trying to start this war with Iran and everything, and it kind of petered out a little bit. Supposedly we're going to war. I think that when people see through this, it actually stops it.
Well, just do not be surprised. I'm not trying to like black pill or fear or anything like that, but do not be surprised if there is a massive, once again, psyop again or some false flag bombing somewhere, and they're immediately going to say, "Hey, it was Iran." And you know what that's going to do? Loads of people that are already hip to the Epstein stuff, they'll be like, "No, it's all nonsense," but they're probably not going to care at all, and they're probably just going to push more and more of a war in this country.
Yeah,
So,
they're trying, but my hope is enough people see through it to not give them enough energetic power to actually pull it off.
guys, we're in a different time right now. What we're talking about and all of this openness was not happening 20, 30 years ago. It just wasn't,
Yeah.
And so we really need to focus on that and keep the light, very much so,
Just being aware of these things stops them. If you're aware, you help other people be aware. You don't live in fear. You don't freak out. Don't give it the energy. It won't have the energy, and they won't be able to pull it off.
Yeah.
That's kind of how I see it, and and even if I'm wrong, it's the way to be. Don't be in fear. Don't give it energy. Focus on the good things. I mean, Marty, in the last 2 decades, has Iran really been bugging you and your wife? They've been really annoying, haven't they?
I just can't stand those damn Iranians.
Yeah, I mean, no American has ever said that. We don't. Nobody cares. It's just the government's going, "Oh, Iran's bad," and we're like, "Oh, Iran's bad, really? I haven't seen anything. Have you? Have you seen anything, Marty?"
Yeah. And just remember who they blamed 9/11 on when they crashed that holography into that building and they did the the controlled demolition. Who they blame it on?
Yeah.
The Muzzies, right? The Slims.
Yeah. Amazing. 35 flights that day from the East Coast airports to California, 35 early morning flights, all of them overbooked, except the 4 that were hijacked. They were only 20, 30% full. Weird.
Interesting.
Right? Very strange.
Okay. So there's basically 3 things that I want to point out as massive anomalies in what we saw at the Chuckles Church, the CK shooting, non-shooting, false flag event. And there are 3 things that I want to point out. And I'm going to basically present a challenge to all the audience that thinks this is crazy or whatever. That's fine. You can think whatever you want, believe whatever you want. But the challenge is to answer these anomalies. And the 3 anomalies are this. Number 1, Chuckles Church's ring. He had this ring that came on and off, and when he was shot, it went off, and then next thing you know, it immediately went down. It was like a gravitational pull, and it was pulled right back onto his finger, and then it went onto the other.
He does have big hands.
Yes.
Except when he was in the coffin, and his wife put his hand on top of it.
Yeah,
they were the same size.
Anyway.
All right, skip that. Skip that.
So there's the ring that comes off and then immediately collapses back on. Okay, there's one. The second one is the F. He has this shirt, white shirt, says freedom. Next thing you know, it's Reedom. The F goes away. That's the second anomaly. And then third anomaly is, of course, the chair. The chair. And
What about the chair, Marty? What about the chair?
Talk about the chair. So this is the challenge that I have. And I said, the challenge is do not give us your opinion. Do not give us, if you think that this is video compression or it's pixels or whatever the heck you think it is, okay, cool. But the challenge is this. Do not give us your opinion. Do not give us, this is what I think happened. We don't care. The challenge is this. Perform the scientific experiment. And what I mean is, you all have video. You all have video on your phones. You send us any video. Send it to info@Gnostic Academy, or what's your email, Dave?
theflatearthpodcast.com. info@theflatearthpodcast.com.
It's early in the morning, guys. Just give us a break, okay?
Yeah.
So send us a video of you that you've taken in your phone where you see anything like this, that a video that you've taken, okay? And beyond just the video that you have on your phone, actually perform an experiment. Take your phone, put it outside, put it on a tripod, put yourself in a white Freedom shirt and do this. And then film that, compress it, do whatever you got to do, and then show us any video that you have that recreates exactly what we saw in that, basically, 30 seconds in multiple different angles of what we saw that day. So perform the experiment. Recreate these scenarios. Recreate these anomalies on your own phones. And remember what this happened, like I said, 30 seconds, 45 seconds. How much video do you have on your phone? Right now, you probably have hours and hours. Just go through it and send Dave a clip, a clip that says it shows anything like that whatsoever, okay? And the one thing I would really like you to do, and we performed the experiment, my wife and I did, is just drop a chair, film it on your phone, and drop a solid chair on any platform, a desk, anything like that, and show us this, and I'll show the video right here. Show us this. Show us this happening at all. That's it. Otherwise, we don't care about your opinion. We don't care about what you think happened. I've got some theories or a conspiracy. We don't care. What we want to see is the actual science behind this. So Jennifer and I, we're like, you know what, since we're a church and academy, we really want to be scientific. We want to do actually do an experiment on this. So Jennifer and I, we just went ahead and just tried it. I was like, baby, hey, grab that chair and then just drop it and just see. It didn't fall through the table. We gave it, we did this 3 times too. We did this. Let's watch it again, just so you guys know how physical objects work. Okay. So there's my wife. God, she's beautiful. Look at her. And then she drops it and it just stays right there. She's like, you know what we called this? That we did that 3 times. I've videoed that 3 times to make sure we got the best cut. We called that the final experiment. We called it the final experiment. We actually did an experiment. We did it 3 different times. I was like, hey, is this chair solid? Okay, then I went to that table and I was like, clunk, clunk, clunk. And then I was like, okay, so those are both solid. So I guess the experiment's done, isn't it? So I guess whatever we were watching there is clearly not physical, which means that the only explanation would be that this is a fucking magic show. So that's my challenge to literally everybody that watches this.
And show me somebody that has a mark, anything, a birthmark, a bullet wound, whatever it is on their body, and have the wound move while the body doesn't move. Have the wound or the freckle or the hickey, whatever, have it move when the rest doesn't, when the rest of your body doesn't move.
And there's also clips that maybe I'll put it in here, at least screenshots here, where you can actually see partially through. So it's basically shown as like, hey man, this very well could be holography. So that's basically what I wanted to get across today. I don't know if you want to hit on anything else before we,
There's too much, Marty. I mean, this is just a hey, stop ignoring this. Stop believing that Charlie Kirk wasn't in on it. Stop believing that Erica is evil, even though she is. Clearly. So is Charlie. They were together. Those are not their kids. And that's it. StopLookThink.com. Scroll down. Charlie Kirk banner. Click it. Watch those videos. Take the time. Learn. Watch the Charlie Kirk in 6 minutes.
Stop. Look. Think. Okay. So after, and we'll just leave it at this because I know you got to go, and so I appreciate your time and stuff like that. But I just want to say, and after you search those videos and you film the videos and you search and search and search and you can't find anything that's even close to what we're presenting, just email Dave and I and just let us know that you're solid. Okay.
There you go. Hashtag solid.
Hashtag solid. Because I know Dave and I, we're solid. We just want to know if you're solid too. All right.
Nice. All right. And if you're tired of Charlie Cook, download my app. There's no Charlie Cook information on there.
No Charlie Kirk. There's no Chuckles Church on there.
There's no. I'm sorry, Chuckles Church. You better bleep that out, so it's okay on YouTube. That's it. I have to throw in the grift at one point. You know, the
Dave,
trolls.
This is I'm Brother Marty Leeds, Gnostic Church Academy. This is Grifter Dave, and we really appreciate your time. All right, God bless.
All right.
God bless
See
you
ya.
all.
Well, these eyes ain't never seen no disappearing chair. No, never have I seen one, yeah, vanish in thin air.
What's up with the chair, man?
'Tis only when the government
Talk about the chair.
puts on its magic show is the only time you'll see a chair fall through the floor. Oh, young Jesse Wells, sing me a new damn song. One where Chuckles' chair is suddenly all gone. I ask you, youthful man, do you know reality? Do chairs just up and evaporate? Oh, good Lord, Negro, please.
What's up with the chair, man?
Oh, shout me out a chorus about a chair.
Talk about the chair.
Don't give me your excuses, truthers, don't you fucking dare. Don't sing me a song about a sea. Let's come together around the chair, wouldn't that be real neat?
Hey, what happened?
Well, it wasn't till this year, September on the 10th, that these two eyes, they witnessed.
This makes no fucking sense. I mean, it's just bullshit.
A miracle, my friends. A back and forth legs went poop before eyes, and now we know it's all fake and gay, just more satanic lies.